1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mrs. Logan and Imani. Happy birthday to you. Yay!
I tell people that two of the most important things in the world are family and time. I would say 80 to 95% of the time, when you can't depend on nobody else, you can depend on family.
Literally, my father married his dream girl. My father adores my mother. He grew up in a time where men adored their women. So it's hard for him. He's still in denial, even though we've been going through this since 2010.
Yes, honey, I love it. Love it.
Sometimes she'll come in and she'll be sweet as pie, and then 5 minutes later she'll come in and she's cursing me out. You know, and then she'll come in and she's calling my name, but she's calling my daughter. And I think she wants me, but she really wants my daughter. And I'm some woman who she doesn't know, who's in her house.
Caregiving for Alzheimer's patients is extraordinarily challenging. On a good day, it's a challenging one. Caregivers spend so much time helping their loved ones, and eventually the loved ones need help. And caregivers themselves wind up in trouble financially, in trouble mentally and emotionally.
Clean the kitchen every day. I get up and cook their dinner and their breakfast and their lunch every day. Did I mention I got a 9-year-old I gotta get to school, dress, feed, you know, and then guess what? I have cardiac rehab, which I haven't been to in a month. My knees are on fire. I'm overweight. I mean, I've got my own health issues as well, which never get addressed. There are moments of the day when I break down, and I don't always go in my room or go in a bathroom. Sometimes it just happens. And there are times when I'll say things to my mother that I regret because she is my mother. And I'll talk to her mean, and then I feel bad because I know she doesn't mean it. And so Imani's seen it. So now I feel like I have validated disrespect to my parents from my daughter.
One of the things that I found shocking when I was approached, when I did this report, because I was not aware of the disparity in the prevalence of dementia and Alzheimer's between blacks and whites. When I looked at the data and realized that African Americans were twice as likely to suffer from dementia or Alzheimer's than whites, I said, wow.
We do know that it is a vascular disease, so many of the things that impact the high prevalence of vascular diseases such as high blood pressure, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, stroke, occur in African Americans and Hispanics disproportionately.
Well, what my grandfather in the field of research, Alzheimer's research, he did the pathology of the brain. And he got this experience because he was limited to doing certain things. And so he did autopsies. And he started to do that with the brain. And so he had all this information. He saw the differences in the brain cells and the difference how the brain changed with people with these disorders. I gave Professor James Spencer a copy of one of my grandfather's research papers. And he looked at that and he knew a little bit about dementia and Alzheimer's. And he, in his opinion, thought that perhaps the disease should be named after my grandfather because of the significant contribution to and discovery of the causes and how the brain transforms into that disease. And that was, that was his opinion.
some communities are not represented, we're not even going to have the chance to understand how the disease manifests itself in African Americans, for instance, versus white, versus, you know, Hispanics and others. And so my call here is very important to get informed and participate.
That's your heart. Okay.
And I would always ask Mom and Dad, drive up Williams Avenue, because you knew if you drove up Williams Avenue on Sunday, you see everybody, not just somebody, everybody who was coming out of church. You could wave all your friends' friends.
And this block that we're coming into right here, for me, is really significant because I lived in Beaverton, and Willie, who owned basically this whole block and this house right here that we're passing, he was the owner of this house. Owner of all, he bought all these buildings. He had the what is it called, the music record store.
Right, the record store.
He had the barber shop, and it was a place for me to connect with the community, because he would tell me everything that went on here.
And essentially, it's a walking program that aims to preserve cognitive health while preserving history.
This walking program has been a wonderful experience, so it's given us a chance to talk about what's going on.
Test our memories,
to test
because
our memories.
One of the things we do is sometimes we can't remember the place we hung out at. Right. We can't remember where it was, where it's at now that they changed the community.
Back in the day, the yards were better maintained.
Yeah, they were, before they kicked all of us out. And they said we wouldn't maintain our yards. Wrong.
It's my grandparents' house, and it was all taken by eminent domain, so that
they changed maybe the demographics of the people living here, but they're not welcoming the people that originally lived.
The walks are also a form of healing from the trauma of gentrification, but at the same time, people are doing something good for their own health. Their stories are being recorded in a conversational context. And so really what we're doing is we're developing the next generation of cognitive health researchers, because you can only give back to a community if you understand that community and if you're listening to their concerns and their community identified priorities.
I am very optimistic. The more I learn about the absolutely fabulous work that is being done, the research, the clinical trials that are being done not only in the United States but globally, and the interest of individuals to invest in Alzheimer's research, Alzheimer's caregiving, dementia, I do believe that there will be an intervention of some type, and hopefully not too far in the distant future.
Do I have hope? Some minutes of the day I do. Some minutes of the day I don't. When I look at that little girl, I have to be hopeful.